A New York Post exclusive. A $375 billion slush fund handled by John Podesta gave billions of dollars to charities founded, in some cases, just months beforehand. In one such case, former Vice President Kamala Harris handed over a check for nearly $7 billion to Bethesda, Maryland-based group Climate United Fund. A check for $7 billion to Bethesda, Maryland-based Climate United Fund, which doesn't appear in the IRS charities database. It also has no federal filings. Not listed on the IRS charities database, Climate United Fund, but it got $7 billion. The nonprofit fund has only been incorporated in Delaware as of November 30th, 2023. That was 5 months before Harris handed over the cash in April of 2024. And don't forget, there's that ongoing Lee Zeldin investigation. He's the administrator of the EPA now, former candidate for governor here in New York, and a former congressman out on Long Island. He found that there were basically $20 billion worth of bogus grants and whatever ferried off onto non-government organizations in the closing days of the Biden White House. And if the name John Podesta rings a bell, well, it might. Because don't forget about that whole Pizzagate controversy. Oh, yeah. That stems from the hacked emails of John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign chair, as leaked by WikiLeaks. Those emails that John Podesta has been linked to, they contain what's widely believed to be coded language. Terms like pizza, handkerchief. Allegedly, that's linked to child trafficking. And, allegedly, a business by the name of Comet Ping Pong, a pizzeria in the Washington, D.C. area. Now, we've been talking a lot about documents on the show. JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King, Jeffrey Epstein. And, Tony, let's get this one ready. This is going to be cut 15. Because with all the talk about Epstein, don't forget the bombshell admission recently, bombshell, on Fox News and Sean Hannity. Attorney General Pam Bondi was on with Hannity. And if you recall, or you've heard this show talk about it before, Jeffrey Epstein, there's an allegation out there, a widespread belief, widely held belief, that he was running a honeypot operation for years. In essence, that he was, entrapping people by setting them up to hook up with underage women and saying, I got you now. You got to do what I say. So given that there's allegations and rumors that Jeffrey Epstein could have worked for the CIA, could have worked for Mossad, could have worked for MI6, don't forget this moment when Pam Bondi, and this one's cut 15, Tony, was on with Sean Hannity.
What are the other things that maybe you would have to redact? Well, national security? No, of course, national security.
National security. That's something they might have to consider when redacting certain things from Epstein documents. Wild. So pivoting back to WikiLeaks, this came out earlier this week. The Department of Justice has announced that the records of Seth Rich, which were set to be released March 10th, coming up on Monday, will not be made public. Now, this is very disappointing because Seth Rich may well have been a key figure in the WikiLeaks dump. And the fact that WikiLeaks got access to DNC emails is what I'm specifically referring to, because ahead of Hillary Clinton's problems with that private server and BleachBit and these leaked emails, some people believe that Seth Rich, who was a Democratic National Committee staffer, see, Seth Rich was a big-time Bernie bro, big fan of Bernie Sanders. And he saw, allegedly, behind the scenes, how the DNC basically conspired to keep Hillary Clinton from, or to keep Bernie from getting the nomination and to keep Hillary Clinton to get it. So what happened was Seth Rich got murdered in July of 2016. And the belief is that that was more or less retribution or payback for him leaking those documents. And there's a whole nother, rabbit hole to go down in terms of why that would be. Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks founder, has more or less suggested that Rich could have been a source. They paid money to try to figure out who it was that killed him, or they offered money at least. And Seth Rich was killed, what was described as a botched robbery, but his wallet, phone, and $300 watch weren't taken. And he was found dead on the street, basically. So it's not like cops stopped somebody in the act. If you're sticking somebody up or shooting somebody dead to rob them and they're lying there on the street, do you think somebody's going to leave the $300 watch there? So the odds that it wasn't actually a robbery with Seth Rich, pretty high.